In December 2023, I got a phone call that vaporized the reality I was living in. It was about my father, a serious health accident. And in that moment, the abstract philosophical idea of mortality became a physical truth. The window of time I thought I had with my parents, the one non-negotiable in my life, it wasn't guaranteed anymore. It was closing and I was on the wrong side of it. Before that call, my life was a masterclass in quiet desperation. On the surface, I was exploring options. I almost joined the military. I considered becoming a journalist. I thought about working on a cruise ship. But underneath, I was a video game addict, deeply insecure, and a chronic people pleaser who would cancel sales calls because the thought of being judged was paralyzing. I didn't just avoid hard conversations. I would book sales calls with prospects and then cancel them myself 10 minutes before they started. That's how afraid I was of being judged. After that call, none of that mattered. The only thing that mattered was time. That moment didn't just scare me, it insulted my previous way of living. I realized I was operating with a someday mindset in a today reality. I needed a new operating system immediately. So I became obsessed with understanding how people like Steve Jobs made high-stakes decisions under death-ground pressure. And this wasn't just a casual interest. I've read his 600-page biography twice. I've watched and analyzed every keynote speech he ever gave. I wasn't looking for inspiration. I was looking for a functional blueprint from a man who had faced his own mortality and built an empire. And I realized the entire roadmap was hidden inside the 3 stories he told in his Stanford commencement speech. In this video, I'm going to break down those 3 lessons about connecting the dots, about love and loss, and about death, through the lens of my own brutal education. This isn't just a summary, this is the operational playbook. Let's start with the most dangerously misinterpreted idea in modern entrepreneurship. You can only connect the dots looking backwards. Most people hear this as a promise of cosmic destiny, that if you just wander around collecting experiences, a beautiful picture will magically emerge. But this is a passive romantic lie. It's the philosophy of a passenger, not a driver. A thinking operator doesn't wait for a pattern, they impose one. Entropy is the default state of your life. You have to be the ordering force. You cannot just sit in your room and just visualize your future if you don't do the actions. It doesn't work. It doesn't. And my life before that phone call was a perfect example of this lie. The video games, the insecurity, the jobs I almost took, those weren't the dots. They were symptoms of a lack of intention. They were meaningless chaos. And they only started to connect when I had a reason to force them to connect. The reason was my family. The catalyst was my father's accident. Suddenly I had to take the raw ingredients of my life and I had to create a new narrative. A saying of my mother is that the art of cooking is about creating the best dish from the ingredients you have. It's the same in life and in business. You don't wait for the perfect ingredients, you take what you have, the good, the bad and the ugly, and you start cooking. You are the chef, not the waiter. When I started connecting my dots intentionally, people got uncomfortable. They'd say, "You've changed," like it was an insult. Of course I changed. The old version of me couldn't build what I wanted. He could only play video games and avoid hard conversations. The gap between who I was and who I need to become was too wide to hide anymore. The insecurity I had, it wasn't a weakness. It became the origin story of my obsession with building real confidence. The kind that comes from taking action, not from these stupid affirmations. The 9 months I spent traveling through different countries after starting my business in 2024. Germany, Dubai, Romania, South Africa, South Korea. People thought I was running away, but I was doing the opposite. I was forcing myself to operate in chaos. New currencies, new time zones, no safety net. I was testing whether my system worked when everything else was unstable. It wasn't escapism. It was a self-imposed education in resilience and global perspective. So stop waiting for your story to appear. You are the author. Your job as an entrepreneur is to take the messy, chaotic, seemingly random dots of your life, your past failures, your unique skills, your weird hobbies, the stuff your grandma told you when you were 5 that it was a strength of yours, and intentionally weave them into a compelling narrative. That narrative is your brand. It's your why. It's the map that guides all your decisions and attracts the right people to you. So do this for me. Write down 3 things you thought you wasted time on. The time you spent gaming, drifting, wrong job. And now, force a connection. How does the obsessive focus of gaming translate to deep work capacity? How does the empathy from customer service translate to sales? Don't just claim your past, weaponize it. Don't just collect dots, have the courage to connect them. But to have that courage, you first have to survive the second most painful lesson. When Jobs was fired from Apple, he lost everything. His reputation, his company, his identity. He said it was devastating. But he also called it the best thing that ever happened to him. Why? Because it replaced the heaviness of being successful with the lightness of being a beginner again. And this is a lesson most entrepreneurs learn far too late, if at all. We're so terrified of loss that we cling to things that are no longer serving us. You know, the sunk cost fallacies. We see failures as a verdict on our worth, not as a process of refinement. It's why so many people quit. They can't endure the pain of feedback. I know this pain. Before I made my first euro online, I spent over 5k on courses, coaching, whatever. For months I saw that as a massive, shameful failure. It was proof that I wasn't good enough. But this was the wrong framing. I didn't lose 5k. I bought a 5k masterclass in what doesn't work. And here's the brutal truth. I spent that money while being so paralyzed by fear that I would cancel sales calls on myself 10 minutes before they started. I posted on LinkedIn, I did this and that just because I didn't want to do the action. I didn't want to admit how much feedback I really needed. The lesson wasn't just execution matters, it was you can't buy courage, you have to build it. That failure was the first that burned away my reliance on theory and forced me into the arena. The lesson was clear. Execution is the only thing that matters. I didn't need more information, I needed to act. You could also say this is the same reason why I'm maybe not the biggest fan of university, college, you name it. So, stop letting your failures define you. Start letting them refine you. Every time you lose, you have to run it through what I call the failure engine. Ask yourself these 3 deep questions. What did I expect to happen? What actually happened? And what is the one lesson I can extract from the gap between those two? That client you lost. The lesson isn't I suck. The lesson is your onboarding sequence is weak. That product that didn't sell. The lesson is you didn't validate the market first. This engine turns your biggest losses into your most valuable assets. It's the system that guarantees you get smarter every time you fail. It's how you stay in the game long enough to win. But even this is just a tactic. The strategy, the thing that gives you the strength to endure failure in the first place, is the final and most important lesson. Jobs' final story was about his cancer diagnosis. He said, "Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make big choices." Most people hear that and think it's a motivational quote. It's not. It's not a bumper sticker, it's a razor. It cuts away everything that isn't essential. It's a practical, strategic tool for resource allocation. The resource is your time and attention. My father's accident burned this filter into my brain. The fears that controlled my life, the one that led me to be a people pleaser, to cancel sales calls, to avoid conflict, looked absurd when viewed through the lens of a finite life. A few months after that call, everything felt like it was falling apart all at once. Relationship was strained, my health was slipping, pressure from every side was crashing down, and my first instinct was to charge in and fix every problem immediately. But that only made things worse. So I forced myself to step back, not emotionally check out, but detach mentally, like a general standing on a hill, watching the entire battlefield. From that position, I could see the small fights that needed my attention, and the distraction I could let go of. And that pause gave me clarity. And the mortality filter is that same skill. You step behind yourself and ask, if this was my last week, would I still be in this fight? And the people that know me know that I have a personal mantra. And what I like to say, and everyone is a part of this, is I might be dead tomorrow. Now I know what you're thinking. People are annoyed. They think I'm being dramatic or preachy. And honestly, I get it. It sounds like something you'd see on a motivational poster. But here's why I don't care. It fucking works. Because it's not a thought, it's the ultimate pattern interrupt. When I'm about to binge eat at 11 p.m. because I'm stressed, I ask myself, if I'm dead tomorrow, do I want to spend doing this? The craving dies. When I'm about to waste 3 hours doom scrolling, same question, the phone goes down. It's a filter that destroys trivial anxieties. When you truly internalize that your time is a non-reversible asset and how much or how little time you actually have, your tolerance for bullshit, both from others and from yourself, drops to zero. So here's how you actually use it. The next time you're stuck on a hard decision, run it through the mortality filter. On the last day of my life, will I care that I was afraid to do this? The answer is always no. This filter gives you the radical clarity to fire the toxic client, make the risky investment, shoot the shot, ask the girl, or just go all in on your vision. But you can't just think about death once and move on. You have to schedule it in your operating system. So, for example, every Sunday night, ask yourself, if this week was my last, would I be satisfied with how I spent it? If the answer is no 2 weeks in a row, you need to act. And this filter was what made me leave Germany and spend 9 months while traveling and building my business. Because staying comfortable in my old environment meant staying the old version of me. It's what made me cut ties with people who wanted me to stay small, even though it hurt. It's what made me choose the risk of entrepreneurship over the safety of university or a traditional job, knowing my parents won't be here forever. Mortality isn't a mood, it's a resource allocation strategy. And yes, it's also the thing that stops me from eating an entire pizza at midnight, when I know I'm not actually hungry. I'm just avoiding something harder. It is the most powerful antidote to the fear and indecision that kill most businesses before they even start. And it's the most honest tool I found for stopping the self-sabotage that kills you slowly, one binge eat at a time. So now you ask yourself, Felix, why should I care? And you should care because this isn't a book report. This is a framework that has been tested at the highest level by Steve Jobs and forged in the fire of my own personal tragedy. It is a system for thinking, execution, and winning. And they are not 3 separate lessons, they are a loop. Death gives you the clarity to make hard decisions. That clarity gives you the courage to endure failure. And that resilience gives you the strength to connect the dots of your life into a story that matters. Your time is limited. That is not a motivational quote, it's a diagnosis. You can either keep drifting, hoping the dots connect on their own, or you can use this framework to start building the life that you actually want today. Because in the end, you can recover from failure, but you cannot recover from regret. I'm still at the beginning of my journey, but I know why I started. And I know I can't afford to waste a single day. The question is, will you keep drifting or will you start drawing your own map? The clock is ticking.